Hi, this is Karen. I just wanted to send out this real quick video for my students who are preparing for the AP language exam. In the spur of the moment, when you freeze up, you tense up, you can forget things that you used to know, things that you are very comfortable with. And so I think the first rule of thumb that you need to remember is to not get too scared, not be too nervous. It's just another test, and if you've been practicing and if you are well acquainted with the strictures of the test, the demands of the test, then you'll do very well. First of all, you have the synthesis essay, right? You have documents A to F. You're going to want to go through them quickly at first glance, identifying what types of documents these are. You're trying to synthesize these documents into one cohesive argument for or against, usually, or characterizing and qualifying the extent to which you agree or disagree with a particular stance. And so when you have these documents are going to come at you from various angles surrounding a specific contentious or controversial issue. What you do, you go through the documents. First of all, you characterize the types of documents and you identify the issue at hand, right? You identify the nuances of each position taken by each of these documents, and then what do? You select the documents that you think will be easiest for you to synthesize literally into a cohesive argument of your own. And when you do so, remember, you won't be graded on the content of your position, right? That's not for the AP readers to do. What you will be graded on is specifically your organizational methods, the rhetorical arguments that you yourself are able to put out, how you are able to utilize these documents as evidence for supporting your position, right? Again, as always, you need to have an introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and a conclusion. Your body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2 should be excellent support for the claim that you provide in your introduction. And when you are using these documents to support your claim, you should do so in a way that synthesizes the different elements of these documents, right? And remember your transitional words. Remember always orthography, grammar. Reread everything once you have written it down. So I would recommend anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes for brainstorming, 5 to 10 minutes after everything has been written for proofreading, if possible. I know it's not realistic, but if at all possible, try to reserve time to do so. Okay, so that's it for the synthesis essay. What about the rhetorical analysis essay? When you have to do the rhetorical analysis, the most important thing that you absolutely have to do is you read while you brainstorm, right? While you are reading, brainstorm at the same time, because you don't have a lot of time. And what you do, you see the document and you have to analyze it rhetorically. You have all these rhetorical devices in your head. You have these elements of figurative language in your head. You know what you have to do, what you have to apply. While you go through the document, skim it first, going through it, trying to understand the central argument. What is the purpose of this author? What is the author's intent? What is this author trying to say, and how is he trying to say it, or how is she trying to say it? What is this author's purpose? What is he or she trying to convey to the audience, to the reader? What is the rhetorical context, the rhetorical situation in which this particular document is located? So you identify those basic textual elements, those basic rhetorical elements, and then you go into it with a more specific kind of approach. You go through it with a finer sieve. You identify what types of rhetorical techniques are being utilized by the authors, what their rhetorical strategy is. For example, is this person using a rhetorical question? Is this person using parallelisms? Is this person using repetition? Is this person using metaphors or similes? The list goes on, right? But once you identify those techniques, once you identify the how, you identify how the how connects to the why, right? Because the why and the what of why this person is using these particular techniques, what this person is trying to say in his or her written work, that constitutes the bulk of what you are going to analyze in your essay. Of course, you have to respond to the prompt as well, but in responding to the prompt, you would definitely need to be able to analyze the rhetorical elements that this author uses. Try to narrow it down to maybe 3, but have at least 2 quotes, 1 or 2 quotes that you can specifically directly lift from the text and connect to these rhetorical devices. Quotes are very important in that regard. Don't forget to provide your assessment or your position based on your rhetorical analysis, how this person utilizes diction. Would you say that it is successful? Would you say that, how would you characterize it? Would you say that this person's use of a particular type of diction contributes to the mood or contributes to the tone or becomes more convincing, is persuasive? How would you characterize that? Finally, we want to go to the original argument essay, which some students can find much harder, some students can find much easier to write than the other text-based essays. But when you have your original argument essay, you have to scrutinize the prompt. And of course, there is a passage there. It is much smaller, but the passage is given, whether it be like a single quote or a paragraph. And the context of this quote or paragraph is also given. So pay close attention to the prompt, scrutinize the prompt, paraphrase the prompt if need be, and reply to it as best you can with personal examples that you draw from your everyday life, from your anecdote. And the more widely read you are, the more informed you are, and the more you have that inquisitive tendency to be curious, to seek out more information about the world around you, the more easy it will be for you to connect your background knowledge to the prompt itself in your analysis of the prompt and use that to guide you to find the correct examples, right? And so when you want to prepare for the original argument essay, prime your mind, prime your memory with, okay, what are some very good examples of things that I've gone through in my life? For example, if I have some kind of unique experience that I can utilize as a good example for this and this kind of topic, I can sort of go through it in my head before I actually sit down to write the essay. Another way to prepare for this is to think of categories, right? It's like, for example, the social sciences, psychology, or technology, or economics, or history, or politics. So you have like these different subcategory groups of potential topics that could be areas or fields from which these questions are thrown out, right? And generally these questions are of general interest, more along the lines of philosophy than not. Usually they're very intriguing questions that you can apply to your life. So when you have to think of examples, try to think of examples that are as relevant as possible and try to consciously use at least 2 or 3 rhetorical devices that you have at the ready. You are going to do great. I believe in you, and you should too. And don't forget to sleep the night before the test. All right? Bye. Let me know how it goes.